Real estate is the largest asset class in the world. In fact, it's so dominant and so big that if we take all the gold in the world and we add all the equities in the world, and let's add all the cryptos in the world, and why not let's put all domestic product of top economies to it, and it still doesn't get that market cap. Real estate is hard to access. And you would think that being such a large asset class, it's accessible to most people around the world. But the fact is that only a handful of people will ever be able to own real estate in their lifetime. And if you look at real estate as an investment, even a smaller percentage will be able to get access to it. So why is real estate so darn hard to access as an investment? It has a couple of reasons, and the first one I would say is that it's capital intensive. You need a certain amount of money to be able to purchase a real estate asset, and probably you need to borrow from somebody who will trust the money with you. Second part, I would say that it takes time to manage, especially if it's an investment that you're making and not your primary home. And last but not least, it requires knowledge. On a local level, you need to understand the market where you're purchasing your real estate asset. But what I'm really interested in is the financial side of real estate. And there's a certain set of data that's analyzed throughout the past 20 years, and it always shows kind of the same thing. About 800 billion are invested in commercial real estate on a yearly basis globally. And the distribution of 80% of this capital goes only to 60 cities worldwide. To give a bit of context, we're in Berlin today, and Berlin, being one of the largest cities in Germany, well, it doesn't get on that list. Warsaw doesn't get on that list, and Ljubljana, the town or city I come from, definitely doesn't get on that list. So this implicates that thousands of markets, and by markets I mean cities, municipalities, don't get the financial attention that they might need to grow. And this has societal implications and drives people to move from country to another country, to change culture so that they find a better place to live, a better place for their families to live in, a place where they can maybe prosper. And they can definitely not buy real estate there, so they rent. And tokenization is here to change this, to take it to a new course. Take it from a world where a property is transacted once a decade to a new world where that same property is transacted 100 times within the minute. And that liquidity potential is the one that will shift capital from being deployed in only 60 cities to thousands of municipalities around the world. Why? Because investors like liquidity, and they tend to stick where other investors are present. So now that's 60 cities worldwide, it's the Londons, the New Yorks. But in the future, every town will have the same playing ground or the same level same level. My name is Denis, and I'm the CEO of Blocksquare. Blocksquare is a company that we started in 2018. And real estate tokenization has been my passion and my favorite topic for these past 5 years. We started 3 co-founders, and today we're grown into a team of 30 people. We're close to hitting the first million of annual revenues. The market cap of our token is 13 million. And we have an amazing community that supports us and got us to 3 bear markets. But the reason for all this traction is because we've been tokenizing real estate. In fact, we've helped the owners of 85 properties to bring their real estate assets on-chain to Web3. That's around 80 million worth of real estate assets tokenized in 18 different countries. And we do that through providing infrastructure, providing tools to our partners so they can have that local expertise to bring real estate assets of certain quality on-chain. Now, when we started doing this, there was no term real estate tokenization, there was no hashtag on RWA trending on Twitter, and there was definitely not Boston Consulting Group commenting that this could turn out into a quite big business. There was no CEOs of prominent investment companies talking about tokenization being the next generation of markets. Today, I'm really happy that I'm in an environment after 5 years of work and building where our vision is turning into reality. So, why is real estate and tokenization such a powerful marriage? You have certain strengths and weaknesses of both the asset classes, and you can basically use the strengths of one to bring more efficiencies to the other, and vice versa. Real estate is an asset class that's regarded to be safe and has quite a long traction. And on the other side, crypto assets are kind of volatile, scary for most people to enter. So what we are doing, basically, it's quite a simple thing. Every real estate asset has a certain life cycle. In the life cycle of a tokenized real estate asset, there's some structuring, which includes, token contract and the legal part of things. And then there's a token sale, so people are invited in. It can be private placements, just getting 10 other investors into a deal in a more efficient way. There's a revenue sharing element to its lifetime. And then there's a exit. There's a buyback of tokens and a distribution of value back to the investors. And in the meantime, this can also have certain liquidity. It could be also traded, right? So the market in these 5 years, looking at it, went into two distinct routes. It went into something I called, to simplify, into CeFi and DeFi real estate tokenization. The CeFi part is the one that most people are aware of. It's, okay, let's put this real estate asset onto an SPV and let's create tokens that represent shares in that company that owns the real estate asset. That's really great and a simple way of doing it. And it has its strengths and weaknesses. And then there's the DeFi side of things, where you need to create a legal model to transfer economic rights onto tokens. And you need to secure those economic rights to be directly executable in court, or without court for that matter. And while you're doing this, you're tokenizing, you're creating tokens that might be regarded as securities on the market, but what they're definitely not is traditional securities being tokenized. And there's a clear difference here. When you tokenize company shares, you're actually creating a much less liquid asset out of it. Why? Because the trading of those is inherited all the regulations surrounding private equity. It means you can almost list it only on the New York Stock Exchange. On the other side, you have the DeFi route. You're creating tokens that have economic rights that derive from the bundle of rights that ownership represents. And in some markets, these tokens will be regarded as securities, of course, but they're not traditional securities. So the tradability of those, it's much more likely to happen. Secondary markets can thrive, and they can be used in DeFi, lending, and other protocols that we know of. So the future of real estate markets for me is tokenization, but putting it under a strict framework like private equity, it's gonna take us somewhere, but not far. And the DeFi route that we've taken allowed us to achieve some pretty remarkable stuff, I believe. We've been now the first company in the world to have successfully registered a tokenized real estate asset in an EU member state land registry. And we've done this without talking to a regulator, but going to a notary and making the process directly through the notary, which creates direct executability of the rights for token holders. It means that the economic rights that they receive do not need to go through court litigation to be enforced. And this model is now being implemented in my home country, Slovenia, and we're working with a partner on achieving the same process in Austria. And from there, we have private partner who tokenized with us previously a property in Belgium. And hopefully we can get to Germany after these 2 pilots are done. So we serve the market by providing tools. I was really happy to hear in Istanbul at Dev Connect, Vitalik say, build tools, not empires. I cannot agree more with him about this because decentralization is about bringing protocols, tools, structured processes to the people so that they can be applied on the market. And what we're doing is exactly the same. Our tools are available in any country around the world. Our frameworks are available anywhere for people to use and start bringing real estate assets on-chain. This is the team that is building this. And one of the things that I'm really, really excited about is using the concept that we've learned in the past 5 years from DeFi lending to NFT collateralization and lending, and bringing them closer or bringing them to real estate assets so that you can have tomorrow the ability to not only access real estate through the purchase and holding of tokens, but you can access the ability to use services like borrowing and lending, which takes us closer to a world where the bank is the people. And this is the world of Web3. Thank you very much. And